I want to introduce next individual that has been a part of the TERO organization for many, many years, Mr. Kelsey Packineau. And he's also a tribal member from here, currently lives and resides in the Yakima Nation in the state of Washington. Oh, welcome.
Good afternoon. My name is Kelsey Packineau. That's my English name. My given name by the tribe is Nakhbitsi Nadadish. How come when you ask a guy, what's your name? I'm John Smith. They say, what does it mean? You know, in the Indian country, you tell them your Indian name, and they say, what does it mean? Translated, my Indian name means bear's heart. And I'm a little more interactive. I got a tough crew to follow. These guys did an outstanding job on the compliance. You know, and it is difficult doing compliance. It's a lot of times it's kind of a no-win thing, but you have to come out and you have to have a winner, because when you file that complaint, they want adjudication. The other thing is I also come from a law enforcement background. I spent 20 years as a police officer. I was a deputy sheriff. I worked for the Yakima Nation. I worked for the Bureau of Indian Affairs, and I worked for the U.S. Marshal Service. And so I've had quite a varied law enforcement background, and coming to TERO, a lot of it was enforcement, so it was quite easy for me to make that transition. I went from enforcing in Washington State, we're all cross-commissioned, state law, county law, tribal law, federal law. I went from that down to one law, the TERO law. And it was a lot, for me it was a lot easier to make that transition. You know, the other thing is, our TERO is a little bit different over there, and it's kind of hard for me to say that because I'm from here, I'm enrolled here, I own land here. I hear I got a oil well someplace too. But you know, it's different to be home. You know, these are my brothers, these are my in-laws. You know, all of these people I'm related to. And so when I come from Yakima to home, it's quite a transition for me to stand up here and say, this is my land. I can do what I want on my land. I'm home, you know. And you know, your chief compliance officer just stated that very well, in that, you know, you're guests here. You're all guests here. You know, a long time ago, if you read back the way the Indian law was written, you had to have a permit to go off the reservation as an Indian. You also had to have a permit to come on the reservation and do business. That's been for a long, long time. Those rules have been in effect. A lot of times these towns we got on all these different reservations throughout the United States are illegal. They didn't follow the proper law. They didn't go to the tribe. They had fee land, and they said, let's build a town here. And they went, regardless of what the laws were, they built them. You know, now they're finding out that, you know, this town shouldn't have been built here. But, you know, that's the other part of it. In compliance, and what is TERO? What are we here for? Now, some of the states are starting different laws. I know Montana, to work on a state project or a project that's federally funded, 70% of those contractors have to come from the state of Montana. You know, that's what TERO does on this reservation and all the other reservations that they're on. They just built a big federal building in Montana, in Billings, and there was quite a controversy because the prime contractor was not a Montana company. That's where we look for subcontracting opportunities for our Indian people to come here, to be here, to profit from this, because this is coming off of our land. When this oil boom is over, it's going to be over. Then what are we going to be left with? That's why we want our land to be taken care of, our water to be taken care of. We want our roads to be well maintained, and we want our workforce to be trained. And, you know, I heard a couple comments when I was walking out at lunchtime. They said, yeah, look at that guy. Why didn't he lose his suit and go to work? Well, I'm not going to give away how old I am, but 41 years ago, I was a derrick hand. I worked north of Roundup in Montana, and I did derricks. I started out as a warm, and I worked my way up to derricks. So I've done this kind of work. I've been down in the trenches. I've been up there when it's 30 below and blowing like hell, and back then you didn't have to have weathering up unless you could afford it. You know, and they didn't have safety ropes or none of that stuff. You know, and we worked up there and we made good money. And I worked off the reservation north of Billings, Montana. There was no TERO up there. So I had to hustle my job and perform to keep it. You know, and when I got done to move on, you know, the contractor come up, the tool pusher, he come up and he goes, you sure you want to go? He goes, man, he goes, you know, you did a good job for us. And I said, well, thank you, but you know, it's time for me to move on. So I moved on. But I was a young kid then, and I could do that kind of work. And so the work ethic is out there. Our people have it. You know, and we look forward to that. We look forward to them saying, yeah, I'm going to go to work this morning. Yeah, I'm going to be there on time. Yeah, I'm going to be the best guy they got out there. And I got, where I'm from, where I work, in Yakima, I have people like that. Some of my best guys are like 45 to 50 years old. They got a work ethic. They're there 15 to 20 minutes before work. They're there until the boss lets them go. They don't at 5 o'clock start loading up. Now these guys got a good work ethic. They provide a quality job. They do quality work. They conduct themselves in a manner that's appropriate. They don't go around cussing at people. They don't go around saying, you know, bad things about people because of their race or because of what their orientation is. You know, they're good guys. They can work any place, and they have worked every place. And so, you know, we do have that component out there of our tribal members who are willing and able and ready to go out and work. We're building 68 homes out towards White Swan right now. And most of the guys come in with the minimum requirements is you got to have a driver's license and you got to be able to pass a drug test. Is that right? Let's see a nod of heads if that's pretty much minimum for you to come onto your job site and take an application. You know, and we've had people before, and like I say, they bring their workforce from outside. They bring all their people with them. They bring Billy Bob and all their cousins and everybody else. They get there and they say, we don't need anybody here. We got our own people. And so TERO fills that void with our people. We had one guy who was a real good carpenter. He lost his driver's license, and it wasn't through a criminal activity. Well, kind of, sort of, but you know, they're tying child support to your driver's license now. And he was unemployed, and he couldn't pay it, so they took his license. So they're working from here to that back wall from his house, and they say, no, we can't hire him because he don't have a driver's license. And so we sat down with the contractor and said, look, he lives right there. He can walk to work. Is he going to operate any of your vehicles? No, he's going to pound nails. You know, he doesn't need to operate your vehicles. You have other personnel, runners who do that work. So we got him hired, and now he's got his money back and he's got his driver's license back because he can pay his fines and pay his child support again. You know, that's the kind of activity that brings a lot of good to me, makes it feel good in my heart when we get one of our tribal members to come back and actually come back and go the long way and be, you know, fully capable of doing that job. But in the past, we've had our people sitting there at home, and they're building a road in front of their house, and they won't hire them. They have all the skills. They went through Votech. They went through different Wahpeton. They got the little certificate on the wall, and they got the little card that says, yeah, he's fully qualified. He's got 3,000 hours in the seat. But no, they're bringing their own workforce, so we're not going to hire. With TERO at Yakima, we have a minimum of 50% hire. So anytime you're on the job, you got to have half your workforce has got to be tribal members. If we got enough, we'll take 100%. And there have been jobs where HVAC, we have a good HVAC program. And the guy comes in and he says, well, I got myself and my foreman, and I'm going to need 3 HVAC guys. And I said, I got them. And he goes, for residential? I said, I got them. They need to be journeymen. I got them. Oh, okay. So, that's the kind of things we fight daily as TERO compliance officers and as TERO officers. You always get that, well, can they do this? Can they do that? I had one contractor, worst case scenario I ever had, and I was ready to hit this guy. He come in there and he says, if I hire 10 of your people, how many of them are going to be drunks? Excuse me? He said, how many of your Indians are going to be drunks? And I said, not a one. And he says, you sound pretty sure of that. You got 10 guys you know of? And I said, no, but I said, I know they won't be drunks. And he says, can you put that in writing and guarantee that? And I said, absolutely. And he says, how can you do that and be so sure? And I told him, I said, because with an attitude like that towards my people, I said, this contract is coming through the Yakima Nation. I said, you're not going to make one dime off of us. I said, you're done. I said, this meeting's over with, you're done. But I have a contract. I said, you had a contract. And we pulled it. We pulled that contract from him and we went to the next bidder. And we have to stand up like that and fight for our people constantly. Because with us, we not only have to deal with the contractors, we also have to deal with our own people. That work ethic, that staying on the job, what we call soft skills. Be there on time. Be a team player. We look at all of that. And we have to teach those because a lot of our younger people haven't had that. And so we do step up, and we have to deal with our people and we have to deal with the contractors simultaneously. Get them to merge, get a good workforce out there, get everything clicking and everything's rolling. And yeah, it is sad because I've had good workers out there who are very, very competent, who had that little journeyman card so they can do whatever that job description is. Work for a while, and we've had them out there 2-3 years and come back and say, well, I've been out here and we have mentoring. We have some, we have classes we put on for entrepreneurial. Learn how to do your books, learn how to be profitable, be a profitable business. And we have them doing that. And, he was working, and one day he come back and told his boss, he said, I'm quitting. He said, I'm going to be a contractor. And his boss was non-Indian, and he says, well, you're going to be in direct competition with me. I don't think you have a chance. You should stay with me. And he come to us, he got his license, he got his UBI, he's got his federal identifier number, got everything, legitimate business. Come back, start getting contracts, and pretty soon his old boss was his subcontractor. And that's one of our success stories. And the other part is the mediation part. I've heard that several times here. We also try to mediate as much as possible. Take care of it at the lowest possible level to keep the job going. Because when you guys get stopped, and if I shut you down, you making any money? No. Neither are my guys. So let's sit down and talk about this. At Yakima, we go through University of Washington Law School for mediation. It's a 3-week class that we take for training to learn how to mediate, and we're certified mediators. And mediators in Washington State, we get a good, it's a good amount of money if you go on the outside and mediate. And so, we were trained and we're certified to do that by the University of Washington Law School. So that, coming from a law enforcement background, you always want that training. You got to be certified at everything you do. You got a handgun, you're certified with it. You got a flashlight, you're certified how to use that flashlight. And everybody says, well, what's so hard about throwing a switch, What happens when it becomes an impact weapon? The old billy club. So, with that, we work for certification, we work for the hours, we work with unions, we work with the AGC, the Associated General Contractors. And then the other part is when we look at those, we make sure that our people aren't going home first. When it's time the work starts slowing down, and you have to cut back the hours, we still have 50% of that workforce in Yakima minimum. And we enforce that, and if our guys call me up and say, hey, I'm getting sent home at noon and everybody else is staying till 5, then we have a problem, we're back out there talking. And the talk is, the discussion, the negotiation is the first part of it. Yeah, and, we go into that portion of it and we sit down and talk with them and tell them we got a problem, we can't have this, and the fine for us is $500 per day per violation. So if you send 4 of my guys home at noon and you keep your 4 guys, it's $2,000 for that day. And I'll get their back pay too. I know that. I'm pretty confident at what I do. And mine is to look out for the people. And a lot of times mandates come down from our council. We're building a casino expansion out in Yakima right now, and we're building the first phase of it. Council come over to our construction meeting last Thursday, come in, sat down, listened, said they wanted to say a few words, and they said they want this job Yakima's only. They said we don't want no other tribes, we don't want nobody else, we want Yakima's on this job because it's our money. This tribe is borrowing this money. We're financing this building, so we want our tribal preference enforced here. So we got done with the meeting. We went outside with the foreman, and I said, "Bring your guys up. And you. You're done. They can work till the end of the day, and then tomorrow you will have a new workforce out here." And we've done it, and I had to do it last week. And the council is pretty hard on us. Charles can attest to this. Sometimes they'll say, "You get this done, Charles, or we may be looking for somebody else." And that's happened to me, where they come up to me and say, "Hey, this has got to happen. We can't have this. You go out and fix it." So we have to play hardball. And when it comes to that, we have a lot of things we do. The tier and the mitigation of no pay on subcontractors sound like you go through the court system here. What we do is everybody here has a bond. If you don't want to pay your bills, we'll go tap your bond. Usually that gets a very, very quick and immediate response. Sometimes they're pretty upset that we're going to go after their bond. But if our people are sitting out there, and we got one right now, he's $60,000 and he's 75 days out on payment, his bond is about to be tapped. We will get their money for them. We will do our job. And we're pretty hardcore, and so are these guys. You have to be serious because you're playing with people. You're not playing. You're helping these people get to another level. You're helping them come in and get that job and get that security that every 2 weeks or every week they get a paycheck. I've got one woman, she's an operator, she just went to the operators union. She was in the laborers union for 5 years. When she come on the job, her first job I put her on, she come on that job in a little white car, and it was a real res car. 4 different tires, and wipers didn't work, and one window wouldn't roll up, and she came to work that way. And we were pushing real hard to finish a project down on the Columbia River called Celilo Village, and we had to finish that. And they were working everybody as long as they could. It was a Army Corps of Engineer project. And the generals and the Secretary of the Interior and all of these were scheduled to be on a certain day there. And so we had to have it done. We had to have it finished. And they were throwing money at it. Man, we were working hard. And she come up to me and she showed me her check, and she says, man, this is what I made for 1 week, Kelsey. She goes, all the hours I'm working, all the overtime. She says, I got a check here for $3,800 clear money for 1 week. And I said, wow, that's really good. She goes, we're getting off so late, I can't get to the bank. She says, I got 3 of these checks in my pocket, and that's a good feeling for us. Now she comes on the job site, and she's driving a new 4-wheel drive pickup, and she's earned it. Nothing was given to her. She earned it. And we've got a lot of people out there who like that, want to get that stability. They want to have that financial resource that they know they're going to have a job. They know they've got a place to go. And as long as this oil patch is going to run, this boom is going to be here, we want to see people, basically get old and retire from some of these jobs. I'm sure you guys don't want to be here in 20 years, Not unless you're the boss and you sit there and write the check once in a while, Other than that, it's a tough job. It is. It's tough. You got to make production. You got to get, once you find it, you got to get it out of the ground. You got to store it. And you got to get it to market. So, with all of that, we as TERO officers, we have to do our job. We have to make sure that our people are taken care of. The individual workers, the subcontractors, and the ones who actually own the companies and can become a prime contractor. That's what we look forward to. And the other part that was touched on real briefly was fronts. Fronts. It's kind of a dirty word in Indian country because, that 51%, we had one who came on our job site, had a trucking outfit, and they came on the job, and they signed up for it with us as a TERO company. And they also were certified by the state of Washington as a DBE, a disadvantaged business enterprise. And the woman was 51%. And when they got there, we send them our TERO compliance and our packet we get to them. They brought it back and said it don't apply to them. We're not going to do TERO. Then they had their lawyer write us a letter stating why they weren't going to abide by our law. So when they came out there, we just stopped everything. And we told them, there's no work. Then we called the state and said, you got a disadvantaged business out here, and it's not operating as one. They want all the preference. They want all the goodies, but they don't want to hire our people. So they start looking into them. And one of the things was with this woman that ran it, there was no demonstration of management capability. She was never there when we called to discuss the situation. She was never there when we went to the job site. She was not around at the job shack. And her husband had total say-so. And so when we pointed this out to the state, they did their due diligence and they came up with the same thing. And so they took her off the disadvantaged business list at the state level. We also took them off of our certified in the business list also. And so now you about done? Oh, okay. I got 5 minutes. 5 minutes more, guys. So anyway, so we have a lot of authority and we have a lot of due diligence that we put into these things, because when we go in front of somebody, whether it's our council or whether it's some of the owners, the Army Corps of Engineers, we have to be 100%. We have to be ready. We have to have our due diligence done. We have to have all our ducks lined up when we go talk. That's why it's real important to come in and sit down and talk with the TERO office. It don't take that long, and you can spend an hour, 2 hours in the TERO office and get all the forms, have it all explained to you, how to fill them out, how to get them in, And we use a lot of email now. We used to use a lot of fax, but a lot of it comes by email now. And, you know, with the smartphones, they come right on your phone now. So we do a lot of that. And it's just you know, it's just well-timed, you know, good time spent when you come to the TERO office and you get to sit down and talk with them. And that's what we're there for. We're there for our people, and we're there for you as guests on our land working. You know, and we look forward to that. You know, we want to be proactive in it. And we want to tell you what our needs are and what the what the manpower is like. And each tribe will have a TERO ordinance, and it'll be basically the same, but all a little bit different. It'll be tweaked. Yakima, they charge a 3% fee on total amount. So we've got a casino job going, and we're going to get 3% of $90 million in the TERO office. And so, you know, we've done that. And we've also done other jobs where we've had some big companies come in and say, well, you know, that's a $36 million job, and, you know, we have to pay this fee, and, you know, can we break it up? And we let them know that straight up, that's a privilege to pay that fee in increments. Because where else in Yakima at that amount, it was about a $2.8 million TERO fee. Now our law requires you pay that up front before you can start. Now if we decide that we're going to enter into negotiations with you and open that up and set terms and conditions on this TERO fee, and normally we haven't charged interest on one yet. And, you know, the contractor says, well, that's a big number, and we break it down for him, and it's got to be paid before the completion of the project. And he'll say, that's a real big number, Kels, and we'll break it down for a monthly payment. And he goes, wow. And I said, where else are you going to get a $2.5 million interest-free loan for a year? That just ain't going to happen in today's economy. So as a TERO office, you know, we make a lot of concessions and to assist getting these projects off the ground. Here you've got the oil. Nationwide, one of the biggest builders out there are the tribes on the casino projects. They're constantly building. And, you know, Lee pointed out we're going to, what is it, 20 billion? 20 billion? 400? You know, coming in the next few years. And these are all on Indian reservations. You know, and so contractors out there, you know, there's other things to do. There's other places to go. But, you know, here you're working in the oil field. You're in the biggest boom. You know, we're going to be in Las Vegas in December. And a lot of the contracts, what's happened here is going to be a showcase over there. The number of people there's just a sheer number of people that showed up here, you know, is going to be, you know, there'll be a presentation down there. I'm sure Charles will have one for us on the numbers of people who came, participated, and hopefully got something out of it, you know. And we're just looking for opportunity for our people. That's what this law was written for. Thank you.